Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I am so happy that you decided to join me today. Um, this is Travel Esquire'd, where legal meets travel. A lot of you know me, my travel agent friends and colleagues, as Glenisha Gaylord. I am an attorney as well as a travel advisor. And my purpose here today is to help you guys navigate the travel business. So it's all about making sure your travel business has whatever you need in order to be successful legally. So we talk about so many things on these interwebs, from terms and conditions to travelers just doing some silly stuff and how you can protect yourself. And I was inspired by a lot of you to bring this channel forward because there's just so many questions out there and not enough resources to get those questions answered. So that's why Travel Esquire exists. So I want to say hello to some people who took a moment to say hello to me this morning. We have Fantastic Voyages saying hello this morning. So hello to you. Hi, Keisha Singleton, Lakeisha Hill, Sammy Superstar. He is one of my colleagues in the live streaming world coming to support. I really appreciate you coming. Yes, this is my first stream and I am so excited to be here. This is a long time coming, been wanting to do this for a while. So thank you all for coming and thank you, Sammy, for supporting. Lining Home Space, thank you. Shannon, Shanteria from Travel Divas. That's my girl, longtime supporter. I support her. She supports me. Like that love between us is amazing. And I'm glad you're able to come and join in. Christine as well. Thank you for coming. Rich, Ohana Sunscapes, Courtney. Oh my goodness, look at all of the people here. I am not going to be able to say hello to everyone, but know that I am so happy that you guys came through just to say hi. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is my first stream. So one of the things I want to do is just quickly go over what to expect moving forward, as well as what we're going to go over today. So I plan to be here at 10:30 every Wednesday, God willing. My hope is that you come and join me. Same bat time, same bat channel, just different dates. I will go through all of the different topics in the chat. Pinned to the chat is a whatchamacallit, is a link to my email subscription page. Please subscribe. I know that YouTube says that you can do subscribe and do reminders, but unfortunately those reminders aren't as accurate as we would like them to be. So if you want to make sure and ensure that you are on the list to get reminders of this stream every week, please join that email list and we'll be sure to make sure you get reminders. Also, by joining every once in a while, whatever's in my soul, I may give out a free contract, share some information that I'm not sharing publicly with you, and just some advice and tips on your travel business. So only those on the list can have the privilege of, or will have the privilege of getting that extra information. So please join the list. Also, again, make sure you subscribe and like this stream. So on to today. So one of the biggest things that housekeeping really quickly. If you have a question, please put the letter Q before your question. I'm pretty sure as we start talking here that you guys are going to start talking amongst yourselves. And in order for me to know that you have a question and it's easier for me to parse out, if you put that Q in front of your question, that way I'm able to easily isolate it, grab it, answer the question for you. If you are coming to the stream after we're done and still have a question on anything that I say, please type it in the comments. I will go through the comments after the stream and answer the questions. My purpose here is to answer your questions as much as possible. However, understand this, what we say here and what is said here does not substitute for legal advice. So if you have any questions that is too specific for here, I will let you know in the comments, and then we can just sit down, have a consultation, and discuss. So, hey, everyone, let's get to today's topic. So, I decided to start with the ominous terms and conditions. We're starting on 2022. 2020 was a really interesting year. We thought we were rounding the corner 2021, and now we have shutdowns again. So we are back to what looks like 2020, and a lot of people still have questions about terms and conditions. So my job here is to help you with that. And because terms and conditions is such a major topic, I broke it down. So today we're just going to start on the easier part of terms and conditions, which is what are they and why are they important? So your terms and conditions document is one of the main contracts on for your travel business. And its purpose is to set the stage or set the foundation between you and your client or your prospective client as to how you run your agency. What are your policies? And policies just aren't with refund and cancellation, but also what happens if you have a roommate and your roommate bails on you? What happens if you get to a location and you get hurt, or again, using what's out here right now, COVID, you get sick? What happens, if you are on, a lot of people here do group travel and pre-planned group travel, and you decide you don't want to go on an excursion? What can you expect? So it's all about setting the expectations for you and your client or prospective client as you move forward with this. So it's very important to make sure you have terms and conditions document that protects you and your interest. So let's hit it. Let's go into it. I just went over what are terms and conditions. Now, I want to be very clear with you. Your terms and conditions cannot stop someone from suing you. Anybody can start a lawsuit, and it's unfortunate, but anybody can start a lawsuit. That doesn't mean that they're going to be successful. The purpose of your terms and conditions document is to make sure that you're able to defend your lawsuit. Okay? Or if somebody does a chargeback, to be able to defend the chargeback and say, look, this information was supplied to this traveler. I'm sorry that they're having a dispute with my company, but they signed that they read and understood these terms and conditions, and they had an option to not move forward with their purchase if they didn't agree with its terms. So you can defend yourself on that. Why are the terms and conditions important? Number one, it protects your business. How does it protect your business? It limits your liability, one, and then it provides transparency regarding your policies and procedures. So let's go into a little bit on how it limits your liability. So your liability is limited because you're putting into your terms and conditions, hopefully, what your policies are. So you're not going to be responsible if somebody goes ATVing and they accidentally fall off and break a limb or hurt themselves more extensively. You're not going to be responsible if someone goes on a vacation and doesn't provide travel insurance, doesn't get travel insurance, and they get sick and need to be hospitalized. Like, those are the things you want to limit your liability on, or if, unfortunately, being a lot of us are third-party suppliers where we're putting together different suppliers to make this big, beautiful travel package for your clients, and a piece doesn't happen, right? You want to live in your liability if that transfer doesn't show, or they show late, or if they show so late they cause you to your client to miss their airplane. What happens in that way? So you really want to make sure that you are, excuse me, you really want to make sure that you limit your exposure to that. You don't want somebody coming to you with a $2,000, $3,000 bill saying, I had to get new flights because my transfer was late. You want to make sure you have some liability. You limit your exposure there. Um, to do so, you have to be transparent. You have to tell people what your policies are. If you don't tell them what that is, then that's that hole that they can get through, and I don't want to say exploit, but take advantage of your business and say, well, you didn't tell me that, you the one who signed up for these transfers for me and my family. And the transfer company sucked. They didn't do their job. So you, travel agent, are responsible. You want to try to avoid all of that. That doesn't mean that, you don't feel bad. Not saying that at all. We're people and we care about our clients and we care that they have a wonderful and enjoyable travel experience. However, you want to make sure that if things go wrong, that they can't come to you for, and try to find ways of you paying for those things going wrong, especially when it's out of your control. Again, guys, don't be afraid to put your questions in the group. I see everybody saying hello, so I'm going to say hello again. But I want to hear your questions. I want to hear from you. This isn't just me talking. I want to hear what your thoughts are, and if there's any issues regarding terms and conditions that or questions that you have, put them in the chat. Let's talk about them. So I'm going to keep going though, but those were the two things I wanted to go over to begin with. So the next part I want to talk about is whether or not your terms and conditions are negotiable. So I will be honest with you. It all depends on you. I personally don't believe that your terms and conditions should be negotiable. Here's why. You are setting the stage for how you're going to interact with that client or prospective client right off the bat. And they also know what they can expect from you as a travel agent and business owner. There may be times when you may whatchamacallit, where you may excuse a portion of the your terms and conditions, mainly because, a lot of times that person is a good customer, they're a long time customer, you want to make them happy, be a repeat customer, that's fine. However, when somebody says, well, I don't want to pay off the bat, you have cancellation policies and you charge a fee for cancellation. Well, I don't want to be charged a fee for cancellation. You know, you have to really think, if somebody's coming to you off the bat like that, are they a good fit for you? Are they a good fit for your business? Will they be someone who will question you every step of the way and make your job harder? So those are the things that are red flags on whether or not that person, is your ideal customer, right? So I pretty much say that you shouldn't really negotiate the terms of your terms and conditions. Rather, if something comes up where you may want to excuse a term, and again, as the business owner, you have to look at that situation and see what works best for you. If you're able to excuse a term, then definitely go for it. But if not, then that's okay too. So we did get a question about someone looking to see if they're able to come back to the stream later. Yes, my streams will be saved on my Travel Esquire'd page. So if you can't tune into the whole stream or you miss a stream, but you really want to come back and look at it, come back to the page at any time and sit down with your coffee, your pen, your paper, or your iPad. I'm an iPad user. And definitely watch this. Or if there's something that you missed while we're going through this live, rewatch the stream. That's what it's here for. So you have a resource to come back to if you have a question that came up during the stream, or you thought about it later and you're like, okay, I didn't ask it during the stream. you can still come back and add questions to the comments. So yes, you are able to view this on your own time and not have to be live. I would prefer you live because you get the best experience, but if you can't, I totally understand. So Lakeisha is asking, where should you put your terms and conditions? So one of the things, and I'll go through this in the later part of the series, but I'll answer this question now because I think it's very important. You put it everywhere you can. You start off by putting it on your website. You can put it as part of your footer. Hopefully on your website you have your privacy policy on there and your terms of use for your website. And then you want your terms and conditions as a link to a separate page. I also say use that link to that separate page, put it on your email signature lines. Here's your terms and conditions. Whenever somebody, if you use a calendaring software, I use Calendly. Some people use Acuity. Some people use MailChimp, whatever it is that you use. You put a link to your terms and conditions. So when somebody gets your emails to remind them of an appointment, they have access to be able to look at your terms and conditions beforehand. Put them in everything that you can. Because what you want to do, one of the things that I say is present, present, present. And again, we'll go into this more in the series, but very quickly, the reason why you want to present so many times is because you want to make sure that if there's a dispute, that somebody doesn't come to you and say, I didn't know about this. I never saw the terms and conditions. Now you have a long stream of emails, so on and so forth, where it shows, no, the terms and conditions were on your email reminders when you initially contacted my agency, when it's on my website. Also, when you decided to become a customer, I sent you the terms and conditions. And when you agreed to make payments, you signed that you accept the terms and conditions. So now you have this email trail where you can show where you've presented the terms and conditions to the customer on numerous occasions. They had access to them. Now, if they choose not to read them, that's something you cannot control, but you can control how many times you present it to them and they have access to read them. Hopefully that answers that question. So going back to whether or not terms and conditions are negotiable. So again, I think of a travel business as your house. Your business is your entire house. But one of the most important pieces of any house is the foundation. Now, you can have different rooms of your house that if you don't have a room, it doesn't really make a difference. Your house really isn't going to fall. What is important though, and what keeps your house up is your foundation. Your terms and conditions are your foundation to your travel business. And if you negotiate on different pieces and people are able to nitpick what terms and conditions you as a business are going to enforce, then that weakens your business foundation. It weakens your terms and conditions. So then the question is, why have them? What purpose are they serving for you? So as you think about if somebody wants to negotiate, think about that. How does you negotiating your terms and conditions assist you in making sure that your business is covered, that you're reducing your liability, that you have the protections that you need in order to run your business? Okay, so think about that. And I also get this other question, and that's one of the things I wanted to go over today. And this is sort of a taboo topic, but I want to say it, get it out there, because anybody who knows me knows that I am a straight shooter. I'm upfront. I'm going to say what I have to say, and I'm going to end it what I said. So that's what we're going to get today. Should you use terms and conditions from other agents? I give you an emphatic no. Here's why. Everybody runs their travel business differently. You may be in similar niches. You may be in similar have similar target audiences, be in similar markets. But how you run your business is very individualized, and it's individualized to you, such as some people decide to have non-refundable deposits. Some people don't. Some people charge planning fees. Some people don't. Some people charge cancellation fees. Some people don't. So, and then even within those different aspects, those things can differ. So, your terms and conditions for Agent X may not meet your needs. So why use the terms and conditions? Should you read them and get inspiration to give you ideas on things you can have in your terms and conditions? Definitely. But using them word for word in your business, in a lot of cases, does more harm than good, because how they run their business is going to be different from how you run your business. So it's very important that you have terms and conditions that match your agency and how you run your agency. Not only that, by taking someone's terms and conditions word for word, it can be deemed as copyright infringement, and we don't want to do that, right? We're reputable, we're upfront, we're honest travel agents. We're here to bring travel experiences to our clients. Let's run our businesses the same way. So those are the 4 topics I really wanted to go over today. I do want to go into some questions that I'm seeing coming up. And thank you for asking. Please keep the questions coming. And I appreciate people putting the queue beforehand, because it's making it so much easier for me to go in and isolate those comments. So let's go into some of your questions. I'm still learning. I use a program called ECamm, and I'm still learning it. So I wanted to put the questions up on the screen. It's not working for me today. Hopefully by next stream, it will be working. So just be a little patient with me as I scroll through and get some of these questions. So I already answered where you should put your terms and conditions. So the next question by Shannon is, would it be a good idea to send my terms and conditions to my email list quarterly, for example? Yes, definitely. And if you make changes, if at any point you send your terms and conditions, is when you make a change. So let's say you decide to increase your fee, increase your planning fee, or you decide to charge a planning fee. That should go in your terms and conditions, and you should let your clients know immediately and give them some leeway. If you decide today, December 1st, to charge or change your planning fee, give them some leeway. Starting January 1st, I'm charging a planning fee, and this is how much it is, so on and so forth, and give them some, here's a copy of my terms and conditions for you to take a look. If you guys have been watching your emails, there is I've been getting a crap load from different places where I buy from, where I subscribe to, of we've updated our terms and conditions emails. Yes, as a business, you should do the same. We've updated our terms and conditions, and send it out, because you need to notify people when you update them. So it's very important to keep them in the loop. Now, if you want to send it quarterly as well, that's not a bad idea. It can't hurt, because again, that's another touch point you have with your clients in order to advise them of your terms and conditions. If you have newsletters that you send to your clients, put it as a footer, as part of, your template. Hopefully you have your template that has, your basic information, your logo, whatever. Put it as a footer as part of your template. So that's important as well. So also from Turtle 4711, please tell me your name. I want to call you by your name. This is our Travel Esquire'd community, and as a community, I want to respect you and call you by your name. So please share that with us. You don't have to give us your whole name. You don't have to give us all of that. Just your first name, and that will be great. But she's asking, is their signature required if you're still presenting your terms and conditions everywhere you can? Your affirmation of terms and conditions generally happens at the time that the sale occurs. So if you are putting together a proposal and they're ready to move and put a deposit, that's when the affirmation that they accept your terms and conditions generally happens. And a lot of us do that by electronic signature. Some people do it by a little check click box. And then some people do it by saying, by virtue of, and I'm just throwing this out here off the top of my head, by virtue of making this deposit, you agree to our terms and conditions. So you don't need a signature every time you send them the terms and conditions, but once money is exchanging hands, once they onboard and become a client of yours, you definitely need to get some type of affirmation that they accept the terms and conditions and had a chance to read them. That's why it's important to present them as many times as possible before you get to that level of engagement, because then you can say you've had ample opportunity to read my terms and conditions and ask any questions that you had regarding how I run my business. So presenting is, before the actual engagement is very important. So from Christine, how do I know if my terms and conditions are good and covering everything I need them for my own business and state? You got to sit with an attorney. I understand, attorneys sometimes aren't cheap. But it's cheaper. The cheap becomes expensive is one of my mottos. It's cheaper to have someone take a look at your terms and conditions document who's knowledgeable and understands the business that you're in. Okay. And I'm going to go into that in a second, because it's important when you're looking for an attorney that they understand your business. But to have them take a look at your terms and conditions and make sure they're strong enough to protect your business. Now, it's not going to be ironclad. That's an impossibility. But they should be strong enough where your business is protected. Now, I'm going to go back to the whole attorney piece. So I will be honest, there's not a lot of attorneys who do what I do. There's a lot of business attorneys, but there's not a lot within the travel sphere that helps travel agents in the way in which I do them. So I'm sort of a unicorn in that way, and it is what it is. But it's like going to the doctor. You have your generalist that goes over your entire body, make sure your blood pressure is good, your heart rate, you're able to continue to hear, so on and so forth. But when it comes to really specialized part of your body where you're having issues, they refer you out to a specialist. The same way works in the legal sphere. You have some generalists who can help you go over all of the things like your wills, trust and estates, purchasing or selling your home, some basic things. But when you need specialized assistance, you're going to go to a specialist. Okay, so you can see me, you can see hopefully other attorneys who may be in this sphere. But I say that because, me being an attorney doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you and I are great fits. So definitely find an attorney in this space that can assist you, but they need to know about the travel business, and they should know about you as a travel advisor, how your business runs, because that makes the documents that they prepare for you a lot easier and a lot to understand. And it'll save you some money as well. But you want to have an attorney that is, that you can go to and ask questions to about the travel space and sphere. So that's very important. So that's what you would need in order to make sure that your business is adequately protected. So Too Busy Not to Travel is asking, is there any precedence that creates liability for the LLC travel advisor that has a no refund policy, but the vendors have a different refund policy? Which policy takes precedence. And hi, Cynthia. Turtles 477 gave us a name. Hi, Cynthia, and welcome. No worries. So, for too busy not to travel, that's a very interesting and loaded question. So, this goes into your supplier relationships, and you just gave me an idea about another stream. So, this goes into your supplier relationships, right? You have to, some suppliers have refund policies. That does not mean that you can that doesn't preclude you from making a more stringent refund policy, but you have to work with a supplier that honors that policy. So, having that relationship with your suppliers and knowing what it is that how they do their business and how they will assist you in yours is very key. And I know that there are some vendors like Classic Vacations for one. I think GoGo does it as well as GoAway. They all allow you, off the top of my head, and other travel advisors, if you know of any vendors that I didn't say, please put it in the chat, that will allow you to charge a non-refundable deposit, and even though their deposit or their fees are refundable. So talk with your suppliers, make sure that they align with your business and your business model. And because that goes into what who you choose to provide the travel services to your clients. Which policy takes precedence? Yours. Your policy takes precedence. However, again, if the vendor is not, or the supplier is not willing to whatchamacallit, to honor your policy, then that may not be the vendor for that vacation. So you need to make sure that you both are on the same page as far as the policies and how they would treat refunds. So, Lakeisha, how can I have a consultation with you? That is a great question. So I actually I'm in the process of redoing my website. But if you go to, and I'll put it in the chat, my website, www.gaylordlaw.com. If you go there, you will see a whatchamacallit. I have different brands, so I'm starting, some different things, but you will see a link under the Gaylord Law Firm. And on there is a link to have a consultation with me. I do charge a fee, you know, as we do, we charge for our knowledge and expertise. I have to do the same. But we'd sit down for a half an hour and we will go over what questions you have and see if we're a great fit for each other. Um, Also make sure, you're able to, you when doing this consultation, you will have access to my calendar. So you can schedule a date or time. Just to let you know, I will be taking off the last 2 weeks of December for some recharge, get ready for 2022, so on and so forth. So I will not be available during that time period. I'll still be on the stream, God willing. But please feel free to schedule a consultation with me. All right, looking for any other questions. So I think I hit all of the questions in here, unless people have other questions that they have um, for me. But I do appreciate everyone coming today for my first ever live stream. I've been, some people, I will say this. I'm a part of a great community. And a lot of my travel agent colleagues have encouraged me to come out here and said to me, we need to hear your voice. And I was very apprehensive coming on the stream because coming in front of people, it really is nerve wracking. And in this way, and you go through all of the things. What if they don't like me? What if I suck? What if I don't provide good information? And to be told that, no, you have something that we need. It's a part of our industry that where there's a gap and you fill it. Bring us your talents, bring us your voice. So I'm very honored to be here, and that U.S. travel agents really look at me as being a valued member of your community. So thank you for coming to the first stream. Again, I will be here every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next part of the terms and conditions series, we're going to go over how to draft your terms and conditions. So that will be next Wednesday. Definitely come again with your pens, papers, iPad, so on and so forth to take notes. You know, if you're unable to come and be a part of the stream, that's okay. We understand, you know, you have things, you're running a business. Um, you're running a business. So come and look at the replay and ask your questions in the chat, even if it is during the replay, because I will come back and answer them. I'm here for you as the Travel Esquire'd community to bring you this information, and I want to be available to you. Oh, wow. We got some great questions come in. Yay, I love questions. I'm a conversationalist, so I don't like talking at you or to you. I want to hear your questions and I want to answer them. So thank you. For Too Busy Not to Travel, she asked, any legal issue in the travel agent LLC paying vendors directly using a business account versus using the client's credit card? And does the client have any potential loss in this process? So that's also a huge question, and it's a good question. So let's break it down. So your business model is your business model. So you need to see whether or not you wish to take client payments and then utilize your own business account to pay the vendors. That's on you, but there's some liability with that. Number one, all of the chargebacks are going to come through your agency, right? So you have to be equipped to be able to change, to be able to respond to those chargebacks, right? And make sure you have monies in your account to make sure that it covers a chargeback in case you're not successful. That also means you're taking on all of the liability versus if it goes through a third party, they're sharing that liability with you. So that's the other piece to it. You also need to see if you're with a host, you need to see whether or not your host allows you to do that. Because some hosts don't. I'm with KHM Travel Group, and shout out to all the KHM travel agents here in Loris Pickney, my regional person who promoted my stream. I appreciate him so much. But my host doesn't allow us to do that. And so we would have to utilize suppliers that allow us to charge the credit card for our clients directly. And you also need to make sure if you're taking credit cards in that way that you have systems that are PCI compliant. And that's another stream, privacy and the travel advisor, that I'm going to go to. So stay tuned for that. But you have to make sure that you're in compliance with the federal and state rules on taking and storing credit cards of your clients. So there is a lot of liability if you're taking cards from your clients and then utilizing your business card to pay for your vacations. A lot of people do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but you also need to check with your insurance and see whether or not what they'll cover. The other part is, does the client have any potential loss in this process? The loss to the client really isn't any difference of whether they pay you directly or pay the supplier directly. It's just about shifting the liability from you, the travel advisor, or sharing the liability with the third party supplier that you choose to use to plan that vacation. So there's that. So yes. Sorry, not yes. No, there's no extra liability to the client, but there's extra liability to you as a travel agent and a business owner. And Clarice, you're very welcome. I try to be as transparent as possible. And Ohana, I appreciate you coming and thank you for the kind words about me being amazing. I appreciate it. It's very humbling. So thank you. So for Christine, what questions do I ask, or how do you find a travel business knowledgeable attorney? And am I certified in other states? So the questions you ask, number one, when you're looking to hire an attorney, what do you know about the travel business? Do you have any travel agent clients? How long have you been serving the travel agent clients? Go into those type of questions of what are their knowledge and experience in this space? And do they look at their advertisement? Do they advertise as a general practitioner? Do they advertise as a business attorney? Do they advertise as a real estate attorney? For me, and I'm not knocking my attorneys that practice across multiple that practice across multiple disciplines. For me personally, I do business, real estate. That's it. And litigation. But my litigation is within the business realm. And I do real estate because I have clients who rent properties and who buy buildings. So all of that is within the business sphere. And that's a broad enough sphere in and of itself. Because I also do trademarks and copyrights as well. And as a business owner, you should know about protecting your brand. Um, so all of those things are within that business sphere. But I'm not trying to do matrimonial law. I'm not trying to do wills and trusts and estates. I'm not trying to do those disciplines because those disciplines, there's like a rabbit hole. Once you get into it, there's so many different ways you can go in so many different branches. I want to be within my niche. And I find it very important to be within that niche because then I can gain knowledge within that niche and hopefully become more of a go-to source. So one of the red flags for me is when you have a business attorney also doing trust and estates and also doing real estate and also doing criminal, and then I want to ask more pointed questions about whether or not they're able to service me. Because even me as an attorney, I use attorneys too. Can you service me? Can you serve my market? Do you know about the business that I'm in? So definitely ask questions about what do you know about the travel industry? What do you know about how travel agents get paid? That's really important because a lot of people don't know how we get paid, right? What do you know about working working as a third party supplier, working with sub agents, working with VAs, and working with independent contractors? Ask those questions of your attorney. Do I go across states? Yes, I do. Because me doing a contract does not necessarily require me to be licensed in that state. However, I can't enforce that contract. So you would need somebody, if something happens in your state, I'm licensed in New York. So if something happens in your state and you have a contract that needs to be enforced, if you're outside of New York, I will not be able to assist you with that. But I have people in my networks I can refer you to. Some exceptions to that are trademark law, copyright law, because that's a federal practice, and I'm part of that bar. Thank you. Too busy not to travel. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you set the alarm. Please don't forget to set the alarm on the channel. And don't forget to go on the email list because, like I said, sometimes that alarm doesn't work, but you're going to get emails from me to say, "Hey, I'm about to go live. Come join in on the community and let's have some fun." Okay. Um, from Chloe, well, it's okay you come in late. You can always check the replay. But tips for COVID info in your terms and conditions. Should it be a general statement that will protect you? And is COVID discussed in booking and travel insurance? So let's hit the questions one at a time. COVID is still here. And we're back to some shutdowns again, And when we thought we were past it, no, we're not. And it's crazy and it drives me crazy. So I know it drives you crazy. And then you have the different state, federal, and country requirements just changing on you all the time. You need to have something in your terms and conditions that handles COVID. And you need to have something in your terms and conditions that says that you are not liable for any COVID related issues. Because this thing is just so amorphous and it's crazy. And I personally tell people that they really should look into having travel insurance to cover any issues that may happen due to COVID. And you as a travel advisor need to make sure that you're partnering with travel insurance companies that handle the different issues that happen with COVID, such as what happens if you contract COVID before you leave, what happens if you contract COVID in destination, those types of things. But it's very important to make sure that you have whatchamacallit, make sure that you have ways to cover COVID, but also limit your liability if there's a COVID related event. Should it be a general statement? I have people who've purchased my COVID waiver off of my Travel Esquire'd site and had people sign it. That's one way. Have it in your terms and conditions as well. And have people sign your current terms and conditions. That's another way. It all depends on how you wish to run your business. That's what you can do. And I covered the travel insurance piece. Oh, too busy. Thank you for being with KHM. I love it. I love our little community with KHM. They are amazing. Just going through. Now, Cynthia, you started to a question. You said, Q, can you say? Can you finish that for me? Because I would like to answer your question, but I just need to know what it is. So again, thank you for coming. You can find me at www.gaylordlaw.com. You can see the different brands that I have. I've pinned to the top of this chat a way for you to get on my email list. Again, so you can be notified when the next time I'm going live. It's going to be every Wednesday, 10:30. Same bad time, same back channel. So on and so forth. So please, if you can, join us. If not, check the replay. Put your questions in the chat. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit the reminder. Be a member of the Travel Esquire community. So here we go. Can you use the general word pandemic, or does it actually have to say COVID-19? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. I'm assuming that you're asking if you can use the word pandemic in your terms and conditions. So you can use the word pandemic generally when you're talking about the force majeure provision in your terms and conditions, because there were other pandemics before COVID. There was Zika, so on and so forth. So you want to be all encompassing of, there's, what's the other one that was giving us heartache about like 7 or 8 years ago? I can't remember offhand, but there's different pandemics that we may have controlled through medicine, but haven't really gone away. So yes, you want to have a general term pandemic, but for COVID, I say to carve out COVID in your terms and conditions, because right now, this is the pandemic we're dealing with. It's not going away anytime soon. And we need to make that upfront and personal with our clients and prospective clients, and let them know how we are handling COVID, because it's still a major part of our industry right now. How can you, Ebola, that's it. Thanks, Chloe. Ebola, you're absolutely right. That's exactly where I was going. Thank you. So Sherry, how can you purchase the COVID waiver? You can go on GaylordLaw.com. You'll see one of my brands is Travel Esquire'd, and in there you can purchase the COVID waiver. And it's an instant download. Once you purchase it, you'll get it instantly. So, and then it gives you some instructions on how you can use it and where you can post it and how you can incorporate it into your system. So there you go. Well, all right. We've been here for almost an hour, and I don't see any more questions in the chat. But again, tune in next week. We're going to go into the second part of terms and conditions, which goes into more of the drafting piece. I expect it to be a lot longer than today, because the overview is just that. In order for you to have a terms and conditions document, you need to understand what it is and how it's important to your business. Next, we're going to go into how you can draft terms and conditions documents that help you protect your business. So please be here next week, 10:30 on a Wednesday. And thank you so much for being a part of the Travel Esquire community today, coming in on the stream. Please feel free, and I hope that you share this information with your other travel agent colleagues who may not know about it or may not been able to join us today, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Thank you all for coming and have a nice afternoon. Bye bye now.